Hello, this is Dr. Tay, and today's topic is top 10 health goals that everyone should have. And let's start. Let's put two, and I'm here. All right. Hydration. I'm going to beat this dead horse to the pulp. You have to drink half of your body weight in terms of ounces. A lot of people are so dehydrated. They have bad skin, they got poor bowel movements, and you can watch all the information that I put in the previous video. And the correct amount of water you should be drinking every single day is about half of your body weight in terms of ounces. So, ladies, if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be drinking 50 ounces of water. And if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking close to 100 ounces of water. There's about 128 ounces in a gallon of water. So, it kind of gives you a reference to how much water you should be drinking every single day. You can add lemon into your water. You can add vinegar, magnesium, salt. But because water always depletes minerals in your body, it is good to put some sort of magnesium or sea salt. And I talk about why putting Himalayan sea salt is bad. So you can check that video. Eating fermented foods is one of the most important things that you guys can add into your diet. Mom, dads, if you're watching this, train your kids. They're not going to like it, but make them like it. Put it in their food every single meal. Some sort of probiotics. It's going to give them a better, stronger stomach because the microbiome, these good bacteria, is going to colonize in your kid's gut, and they'll be able to get more nutrients out of the food. How? There's a study being done a while back about Japanese people compared to non-Japanese people eating seaweed. And it showed that because culturally Japanese people eat more seaweed, they have a microbiome that is able to digest the seaweed and extract more nutrients, vitamins, and minerals compared to people who don't eat seaweed on a consistent basis. And I do have a lot of probiotics products that I sell in my office, but I usually push my patients to eat the food, the probiotic food. You could get pickled food, kimchi, sauerkraut. There's more probiotic in a fork full of sauerkraut than the entire bottle of the probiotic bottle. And it's been shown to enhance the immune system, reduce inflammation, and so forth. There's a brain gut axis. And if you have a good microbiome, your endorphin levels, your GABA, all of these things, these neurochemicals that helps regulate the body become more efficient. Oils and fats. The number one killer in this country is cardiovascular system. I made a video on what causes obesity and where America is headed. And the number one reason thing is that this country, everybody in their households cooks with vegetable oils. And yes, olive oil is a vegetable oil. And some people say, oh, the avocado oil, the specific heat is better, so therefore you can cook it. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but you know what? The parts that gets cooked is all trans fats, and they build up in your cardiovascular system as arteriosclerosis. And if they cross the blood-brain barrier, it's going to be considered plaque. And this is what causes stroke, and this is what causes heart attacks. And you have to start cooking with different methodology. You can cook with tallow, which is animal fat, and that doesn't cause that much plaque buildup in the body. And when I cook at home, I only cook with pasture-raised butter, aka grass-fed butter. Grass-fed butter are fats that are high in omega-3s compared to omega-6s. I'm going to do a totally separate video on the differences between omega-3s and 6s. So stay tuned for that video in the future. Walking 12,000 steps to aka 6 miles per day. I know people who have lost over 100 pounds by walking 6 miles every day, not close to 5 miles, but the sweet spot, according to a lot of the research, is 6 miles per day to 12,000 steps. It's not only good for your exercise, it's good for your heart, it's good for your bone density because the constant impact based on Wolff's Law, your body's able to absorb the calcium better into your body. And if you want to do this, make sure you get prepared to be able to walk through rain, snow, wind, and sunshine, and grab a friend and start walking. And because it's free, you have zero excuse not to do this. Detox. Yes, there's a lot of detox program out there. You can detox heavy metals, mold, um, chemicals out of your body, all of these things. But most importantly, you got to stop putting it into your body. I'm a I'm very guilty of eating a lot of sugars, and from time to time with my family, I eat the instant noodles. They're packed with all these like preservatives and chemicals, and preservatives are known to cause cancer. That's what we know. There is a documentary on Netflix right now that talks about processed meat, and they draw parallels from how many years ago people were promoting cigarettes and how like doctors prefer to smoke camels and things like that, saying that it was healthy. And once the research came out, they knew that smoking caused cancer. Well, today we pretty much now know processed meat causes cancer. So it's all these preservatives that is not good, including potassium benzoate, which is a chemical that is also known to cause cancer. And people are putting it into the foods, and it's the governing regulatory body of the government that are allowing these things to occur, and it's not protecting the public the way it should. So hopefully these videos will help you do that. And who's that guy? Uncle Roger. He loves MSG, right? Look up MSG induced obesity. Rats in nature, there is no like obese rats. So laboratories have to create obese rats in order to conduct medical studies. So how do they do that? They inject MSG into rats, and guess what happens to them? They blow up in terms of size. They start gaining a lot of weight. And if you look at the organs, they look super unhealthy. So Uncle Roger, you need to change that. Probably your intestines and your organs are not looking as healthy as people who are not, and you're promoting misinformation about the benefit, how MSG tastes good. Yeah, crack tastes good or whatever, right? But should everyone be doing crack? I don't know how crack tastes like, but that just came out. All right. On that note, next slide. Sleep hygiene. Reduce the light inside your sleeping quarters. And if you're in college and you don't have access to it, get a sleep mask. It helps tremendously. Uh, Put a blue light filter on your phone so that the blue light doesn't hit your eyes, telling that your brain that it is still morning, so that your brain can or your body are able to produce what is that sleeping hormone, which I forget. Anyway, reduce the amount of caffeine intake into your body, especially after 1 or 2 o'clock. It takes a while for your body to process the caffeine. The also the temperature, it ranges from 60 to 68 degrees where your sleeping quarters should be, but the sweet spot is 63. Yes, it is a cold temperature, but if you're sleeping in these temperatures, you'll have better sleep. Don't eat before you go to sleep, and this is tough for people who sleep, who go to work late and come home late. But the goal is to sleep about 8 hours per day, and you should be getting about 15% of your sleep as a minimum goal to increase your deep sleep for those people who are using things like Oura rings or some sort of measuring device of your sleep. Breaking fast. By stop eating breakfast, you're changing 1/3 of your diet. And I tell my patients, if you eat 3 square meals per day, you're going to end up as a round person. And reason being is that if you have some weight on you, by no longer eating breakfast, you get to burn that off every breakfast. Your liver releases glycogen in the morning while you're sleeping, and your pancreas detects it and senses it and releases glucagon to break down the fats. And this is the energy you get to open your eyes and then go about your day. But by not eating breakfast, just drinking water, lemon, whatever things that I've recommended, you're able to burn through the glycogen and actually burn through your own fats. So breaking fast is one of the most important ways to change your diet. Next, Squatty Potty. I don't know how old you are, but count all those years, because if you haven't been squatting to poop, you've been pooping wrong your whole life. And to correct this, spend $25 or $30, go to squattypotty.com or go to Amazon and purchase a Squatty Potty. On this picture, at this 90-degree angle, there's a muscle called pubal rectalis that pinches the colon. And if you get into this angle where you're raising your knees up to a squatting position, that muscle unhinges and therefore you're able to eliminate your poop without resistance. And if you're not using the squatting position to poop, you're creating tremendous amount of inflammation in the body, and the body can only process a certain amount of inflammation. And this buildup of inflammation eventually builds up in your prostate, especially for men. This is why a lot of men lose the ability to sleep throughout the whole night because they weren't squatting and pooping. And this thing prevents things like hemorrhoids and all of these things. And next slide is forgiveness. People carry not just chemicals or things in their body that they don't need, they carry emotions that they don't no longer serve them. If you got picked on in third grade and you still have these memories being picked on at third grade, you need to start forgiving these people. And I use the phrase, forgive, but don't forget, and don't let it happen again. In your mind, just forgive, starting from your mom, dad, siblings, cousins, immediate family members, friends from first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way to where you're at now, including all the coworkers. Forgive them. You don't have to call them up and say, I forgive you. That's not what I mean. Forgive them inside of your heart. And most importantly, forgive yourself. Trust me, if you do this, you're going to start feeling a lot better. I usually recommend getting a pen and paper and use your hands to write a letter to your younger self, like 7 years old, 8 years old, and say, hey, I'm 43 years old now, and this is what I've been experiencing. And by writing your letter to yourself, you're able to express a lot of unexpressed emotions. And if you don't feel, if you want to write down and put a lot of stuff that you don't want to be shared, at the end of it, go outside and burn this little paper for privacy concerns. But at least you get a chance to be really honest with yourself. Next is breath work. Breath work has been around for thousands of years. I believe it's the people from India that really got it down to a practice, spread it around the world, and there's a lot of benefits. And we didn't know that breathing techniques had a specific function until 2019, when the people studying breath work from Wim Hof or studying the science behind it, they won the Nobel Prize. And people have practicing box breathing, Wim Hof breathing, fire, water breathing. There's a lot of breathing involved. And breath work, what I recommend, whether you're an advanced practitioner or not, you should be breathing 1 to 2 ratio when you're working and in a calm way. What I mean by that is breathe for 5 seconds and breathe out for 10 seconds. To demonstrate it is 5, breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and breathe in for 5, 5, breathe out for 10. You get the idea. And by doing this, you are working your muscles of respiration, because when you do a push up, you're building muscles, but you're building your muscles when you're coming down from a push up. So by breathing out more, you're building your muscles of respiration, which will, if you do this practice on a consistent basis, you'll be able to enhance all of your breath work even more. And breath work has a lot of benefits, believe it or not. Yes, it's just inhaling and exhaling, but when you take a deep breath all the way in, you're generating internal pressure in the body, and that internal pressure is moving your circulation to the periphery, which is your hands, your feet, your prefrontal cortex, and that's where joy, happiness, problem-solving skills, and where executive decisions are being made. By sending more circulation to the prefrontal cortex, where the highest concentration of mitochondria exists, allows you to fire that part of the brain. And if you're watching this video and you have teenagers, or you're a teenager, that's how you get them to behave more correctly, because they can't fire their prefrontal cortex, is not developed as well. All right, having said all of this, please hit that like button, subscribe, mention in the comment below, and please don't forget to consult your doctor about everything I've said, and stay tuned for the next video next week. All right, everybody, take care.